Hello, folks out there in the YouTube community. It's been a moment or two since I actually was able to actually sit down and really do a video, a talking video that is, where I actually really take my time to really sit down and kind of just let things that's going on with me. Not too much, but just little bits of information that I think that I would need to share that can maybe kind of, help someone else along as far as, strengthening their faith and everything of that nature. Basically, I wanted to actually kind of let you know that there was a lot of things going on with me employment wise. Uh, as far as, me working and, just kind of being satisfied with what I was doing, being paid my worth and everything of that nature. I think you all may have remembered that I did a video about that, and I'll probably put the picture or the thumbnail of it up here over there somewhere. I'll put it up here. But basically, I was just kind of like explaining to you all, the pretty much that you really have to really know your worth and know for the most part that, even though, you're working for a wage, that you actually be properly compensated for what you are worth. Now, again, nobody goes into a job actually knowing everything about the job, because again, there's still elements that you need to know. There's still a lot of things that you need to learn. Everybody, companies do things differently, even though it may say the same thing, but they may execute and, do their operations a bit differently. And that again varies from one company to the next. But, the reason that I actually did that video is because again, I felt that I was not being properly, compensated for what, for my, first of all, my educational background and the fact of the things that I actually was able to contribute, and do to the company to help it achieve, its goals or what have you. So in that video, remember, I had told you all that, I found another job at the time, and basically, you know, that I felt that it was just my time to leave where I was at the time, to find something better. And see, one thing about it is that on the course of actually getting to where you need to be, there's still some things that you're going to have to face. That's called trials and tribulations. The Bible speaks of it, and that no one is above, going through. Because again, that's all a part of, your spiritual growth, is the fact that you are going to go through some things. It is what it is. But even though, I moved from one employment situation to the next, basically, there's a lot of issues that I actually had to face with that particular job. Even though the pay was more, than where I had left, which is always good, there was some things there that really did not go well, did not sit well with me. And again, and the funny thing about it is that this pretty much started within the first couple of days, I would have to say, of me actually being on the job. But with everything, when you're moving up, you don't want to be, so quick to throw in the towel on things, because again, how will you grow if you don't actually, go through and actually withstand some things? You know what I mean? But basically, I don't know of anybody, if anybody has been in a situation like this, but basically, when I went into this new job, basically what happened is that the person they hired me, I had to do a computer test and everything like that to make sure that I'm actually able to do the job and this, that, and the other. But even with that being said, this was a woman that actually ran her own business, so the whole point of me actually being hired is for me to help her to run her business. But basically, when they hired me, she actually wanted me to come in with certain things already intact, with knowledge as far as how she do things. And basically, I'm like, how in the world am I going to actually know how to do something if you don't train me on how you do it your way? I know there's a standard way of doing things, but yet still you are having an issue with my work. But the issue is that when I asked you, okay, well, you never gave me any clear direction on how to do this, so I did it the standard way on how it's usually done. You have a problem with it. So I simply asked her, okay, well, if you have a problem with it, then why don't you train me the way that you want it done? So basically, when, you give me the task, it'll be done to your satisfaction. Because again, that's the whole point. I'm helping you to run your business. That's why you hired me. But basically, we just kept butting heads, to and fro and this, that, and the other. And it's like, it's crazy, because basically I'm like, why are we at odds at each other when I'm actually trying to do the job that you asked me to do? But yet still, you're not willing to train me on the things that I need to know to help you to do it. So with some things, you know, it's just plain stupidity. You know, I don't understand. It's like the people in this day and time, they don't really have much common sense for the most part. You know, and this is not a throw at anybody specifically, but it's just the general thought process of people in general in this day and time. And basically, it's like common sense is out the window. You know, things that make sense to, you know, to the everyday common person, it doesn't make sense to them. So basically, it's like, okay, what do you want me to do? You know, okay, because it was getting to the point where I was actually getting aggravated, you know, at the point. And the thing about it is that it got to the point where I actually had to send her an email. You know, she's the type of person, you know, that would actually, you know, she gave me a key and everything, you know, and it was another employee in the office, but she gave us a key and everything on us, you know, to go in and open the office and everything and get everything settled, because she's always away for meetings and all of this other type of stuff, you know, to try to, you know, tend to her business, of course, you know, stuff like that. But it got to the point where I actually sent her an email. I'm like, look, you hired me to do a certain job. I cannot do the job to the specifications that you asked me to do if you don't show me how to do it. Okay? So I did not mean any disrespect, and I mean it with the most respect and all humility, but you're going to have to cut me some slack. I understand that you're a busy person. You have these meetings that you have to go through, yada, yada, yada. But if you want me to do an adequate job here, you're going to have to train me on how you want things done. Okay, so basically, you know, I sent the email out, and I would say the mood as far as me and her, as far as our working relationship after that, it went down south for some reason. Now, all beforehand, before I sent that email to her, and again, it wasn't in any disrespectful tone. It wasn't in all caps and exclamation points and all this other type of stuff to kind of give the reference or to insinuate that I was yelling, you know, or bold print, whatever the case. I didn't do anything. It was just a normal email that I sent to her, you know, to let her know, look, you're going to have to give me some clear direction, because again, I don't know what I'm doing here. You know, I'm doing what I know how based on the little stuff that you showed me, but I need for you to teach me the whole thing. So after I sent that email, she got kind of like an attitude, even though she wanted to play it off that she didn't have an attitude. But she came back with, you know, situations where, you know, when I hired you, I actually, you know, expected for you to do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, of course, because again, that's what you want done. But my issue is that you're not showing me how to do these things. So what she did is she went behind my back and actually called some people. Number one, very disrespectful, because again, if you have a problem with me, I expect for both of us, since we're both adults, and 9 times out of 10, I think I was a little older than her, whatever, you show me the same respect that you would want for me to show to you. I would not go by, if I have a problem with you, I'm coming to you. Camera over there. But I would not go to somebody or talk about you to somebody else, you know, because again, the problem is that she got a third party involved. And I knew something was wrong, because when we were sitting down and having our meeting, it's like she was trying to pretty much have me to say that I don't want to be there because I'm unhappy. And that's not, and I never said that. I never insinuated. All I asked her to do is, as you know, if you have things that you want done a certain way, you tell me how you want it done, teach me how to do it. But she was having these meetings every day after work, wanting to talk to me, this, that, and the other, saying, you know, it seems like, you know, you're, you know, I'm asking you to do this and you're not catching up, and this, that, and the other. You're improving, but you're not doing this, that, and the other. I'm like, where is all of this coming from? Because it seems like to me that we're not having these talks until after I sent you that email. Because it sounded to me like again, that, you know, that I may have hurt your feelings or something like that, which is totally not my intent, because I'm all about clarity. I'm all about getting information, being clear, and getting the expectations that we need up front. So, you know, so we can have a harmonious relationship, so we'll know what to expect from each other. But of course, you know, she kept going on and on about, you know, and then after the end of these talks that we would have every day after work, you know, because when you are done working for the day, you just want to go home. But she would come from, you know, from her meetings or wherever she goes, and she would want to sit down and, you know, have these closed door meetings with me and stuff like this. I'm like, okay, now what we got going on now? I'm like, I'm just starting to work there within weeks of working there. So now I'm all of a sudden at the point where, what do you got to say to me now? This is the mood that I'm actually in right now, because basically I'm getting tired. So the last meeting that we had, I just pretty much asked, like, okay, what, do you not want me here anymore? Do you not think that I can do the job? And basically, from after she beat around the bush and trying to, say all of this other type of stuff, she pretty much said that, that she didn't think that I actually could do the job, and I'm like, well, of course, if you would have taught me the way that you actually wanted things done, it wouldn't be a problem. Even you said out of your mouth yourself that I was improving, whatever that's supposed to mean. But again, I believe, I look at everything, and even though I didn't feel good at the moment of actually being let go, because that's what eventually happened. I was let go. I actually had to sit back and reflect, because basically, in the moment when you go through things and the things don't actually go the way that you plan to do, you become, emotional, and you want to lash out, you want to get even, you want to say this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But all I could tell her, the only words that can actually come out of my mouth to tell her is thank you for the experience. So I got all of my stuff, got my little, all of my office equipment or whatever that I had, because I had my own office and everything like that. It was a nice little setup. Nice. And I left. I didn't, the only thing that I wanted her to do, and I make sure I kept in contact with her, is that you send me my final paycheck. That's all that I care about. Please do not call me or tell me about how sorry this, that, and the other, because I'm not trying to hear that. Because again, if you were truly sorry, then you would have actually worked or actually showed that you really wanted me to be there. So, that's pretty much how I left with that. So like I say, with some things you go through, you have to go through some things in order to be, to have a testimony. The Bible tells us through our testimonies we overcome. So with me, this was a learning tree for me, that, whatever I go in my future employment journey, that whatever employer that I go to, that they actually will train me on what they want done and how they want things done. That's the first thing that I want to get out the way before I even think about accepting an offer from anybody else, regardless of what it is. I want to make sure that you train me. Because again, if you're not willing to train me and you're assuming that I'm coming with all these skills and everything like this, there's going to be a problem. Because I know even in that, there's still some things that companies want done a certain way. And again, common sense will tell you that if they want things done a certain way, they have to tell you or train you on how they want things done. That's just, again, common sense. But again, with this last place, I'll just put it like that. Common sense in that place wasn't so common, unfortunately. But after I was actually, again, let go, and again, reflecting, and the thing about it, again, I was worried about, how my bill's going to get paid and this, that, and the other, again, just normal things that people actually that are out of work would worry about. I had, some money, in the bank or whatever the case may be to carry me over. So I was good in that respect, but I was just actually, just kind of stressing a little bit at the point at hand that I don't have a job. I'm used to working. I don't have no place to go. I have, but again, I had enough money, and I still have way more than enough. I'm good, but to pay bills and this, that, and the other. So I'm good with that. Thank you, Jesus, for actually teaching me how to manage my funds. When I was working back there, and how to put things aside and stuff, because you never can plan on what will happen in the future. So I'm good in that sense. All my bills still being paid. Didn't go a day without food. Internet, everything is still able to do what I want to do, go out and buy things, do whatever I want to do. Not to brag, but I'm just grateful. But so in a midst, I'm going out looking for work and this, that, and the other, and like I say, coming up empty and this, that, and the other, and then I came across a job, that I wouldn't say that I actually really wanted. But, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I do need to kind of keep something, so I can have something coming in the household, to kind of keep my head above water, so I don't have to keep dipping into, my other funds there, where I'll just be good. You know what I mean? So I actually, again, accepted another job. And again, and I did it with the understanding, at least for me personally, that I'm not going to be there but for a season. And so I went ahead and accepted the job. And basically, I'm not going to really go into much detail, but it has to do with, again, dealing with, again, customer service, over the phone type of deal. It was remote, which is good, so because I was used to that, working remote. And like I say, I was like, okay, now I know, Lord. Now, sometimes you have to sometimes talk to the Lord and just go to him bold. But again, the Bible tells us to go before the throne bold and ask. Whatever we ask in faith, knowing and believing that what you ask, God is going to answer. So I'm like, well, Lord, I know that I'm tired of dealing with people over the phone. They have nasty attitudes. They figure that they can talk to you any kind of way. The calls are being monitored. You still have to put on this strong face, even though they're trying to humiliate you. I say, well, Lord, I've been putting in applications ever since, the other job. Okay, when is something going to come through? God is good. God is very good. And the way that he moves sometimes, it really amazes us. I know it amazes me. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else. But when I uttered those words, I got a phone call. I would say maybe the very next day. There was a company that was actually looking for someone that actually can that want to work in administration. Now, for this particular job that I'm talking about, the people who called me, I applied for this job weeks ago. And usually when you apply for jobs, and stuff, and you don't hear nothing within, let's say, the first couple of days or a week or whatever, you forget all about it. You assume that, hey, they don't want me. They looked at my qualifications and really just did not want to have anything to do with me. So, you kind of forget and you just move on to something else. Well, this company happened to call me and say, we're calling you because you put in an application, an online application for such and such. And I had to kind of I had to go back and really think. I'm like, who are these people? They're saying they're from this, that, and the other. And they said, okay, they represent such and such. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Yes, I did put in an application, yes, for this particular, whatever job it is. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's in the administration field, which is where I want to be in life. I'll let you know about that. And it's a good paying job, too. And basically, they're like, well, can you come in for an interview? We would like to interview you because you have some skills and everything that we think that fits you suitably, and you would actually be a great fit here. And we just want to go ahead and interview you, and stuff like that. So I said, of course, I'll come in for the interview. So what I did is I actually went on my day off from the job that I was working now. And I went down there, and basically, let me tell you something. When God blesses you, in most cases, he goes overboard. He gives you more than you ask for sometimes. And basically, when I went to go interview for the place, it's like, it's in a place, again, where a lot of people may not want to go. But it's the type of job that I always wanted. Now, with me personally, I always wanted to work in a hospital. I did not actually really ever want to work on the clinical side where you're dealing with people, surgeries, blood, and all the types of. I don't like that. I like dealing on the administrative side of a hospital. Well, so happened the job that I was being interviewed for is actually dealing with healthcare. But again, it has nothing to do with the clinical side of healthcare. So I went and actually interviewed for the job and everything. And all throughout the interview, the interviewer, the director was just looking at me smiling because she was like, I like your resume. Your resume looks very good. I've never seen a resume like this before. So I'm sitting up there looking at her. She's smiling at me. I'm like, okay, I'm smiling back at her. She asked me some questions. I answer it about my background. And the real part about it, I think that what really gave me a leg up is the fact that I actually do have healthcare experience. I've already been through HIPAA training. I've already, had a security clearance. I've done all of those type of things, which is, again, a requirement for this job. So she said, well, basically, you're coming to us pretty much ready made, if, of course, we are to choose you. So she was just looking, and basically she was like, there's not really much we would actually have to do to train you into the role, but again, you still have to get training. And that was one of my questions that I asked her. I'm like, well, with this position, do you offer training? I don't care how good the salary is and this, that, and the other. Are you willing to train me so I will know what I am doing? She said, of course. And I looked over at the other lady. She was like, she raised her hand. She said, I'll be the one that be training. I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. Okay, we're solid. I'm all about this. So, they after the interview, of course, or whatever, they took me on the tour of the place and everything. And it's like, okay, they even took me around to meet different people on the different floors and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm smiling. I'm like, and as I'm smiling, I'm like, Lord, please help me. Because I'm like, you would not bring me here to leave me, and you're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And I say, really, honestly, I can see myself here. I can see myself working here. It's a beautiful, facility. Again, it's not in a facility where a lot of people would want to be. But again, the pay is good. The office, the people who I will be working with, they are outstanding. They're very laid back, easy to talk to, and they have a military background. That was the leg up that really, I believe that really solidified it for, the hiring team. Because the director, the one who was actually saying that she liked my resume, she's married to a retired Marine. I'm a Marine veteran. And the lady who would be training me, she used to be a Marine. So I'm like, what is going on here? You're like, okay, Lord, you're like, okay, I like what you're doing. You're working things out for me. Okay, I can deal with that. So she said, okay, after the interview, and as I was leaving the interview, she said, we definitely are going to be keeping in contact with you. Now, when people say stuff like that, I don't really pay much attention to it because, again, I've actually fell for that trick before. People will actually give you the impression that the job is going to be yours. And next thing you know, they call you or email you and say, you know what, with the interview and how well it went and all the skills that you can bring, we found a more suitable person for the position. You know how those emails go. Well, this one didn't go like that. I would say about a week later, after I had the interview, I was on my way, to church. We were having a revival. And a phone number came up on my voicemail. Somebody left a voicemail message on my phone. And I'm like, wait a minute. This number here looks like the number that I actually, for that company that I went and interviewed with the week before. Well, I called her back and the lady, she was just so excited. And she said, well, I want you to sit down because we got some news to tell you. And even in all of this type of stuff, I'm still apprehensive because, again, I don't want to, get caught up in mixed signals. But she said, we decided to offer you the position. I said, are you kidding me? She said, no. We would be more than happy to work with you, And basically, we're going over the preliminary stuff as far as, getting me situated, the stuff that I'm going to have to start bringing in, Social Security cards, banking stuff, for the set up direct deposit. And actually, I think tomorrow I should be actually going in to be fingerprinted and, of course, doing my urinalysis and everything like that. So I've already let my current employer know that, hey, I accepted a job offer and my last day is going to be on such and such day. And you have no choice but to deal with it. My thing is this, we're never forgotten. I just want somebody to know that somebody needs to hear this because somebody is feeling low in spirit. Whenever you ask God something and you have faith behind it, know that God is going to answer what you ask for. It may not come when you want him, but he is always on time. And the thing about it again is that, I pray, that with this job that I'm accepting, that, that it's easy for me, that, and I know nothing easy comes free or whatever case, but you know what I mean, is that it don't become stressful. It's something that I can actually do. That's what I'm praying for. Like I say, the people there, every time I speak with the lady over the phone, she is super excited. She says that, I'm just so excited that you're going to be coming to work with us, and stuff like that. So, I'm expecting good things. I really am. And like I say, I want to make sure that I keep the Lord in the front and lead me the way. Because again, I'm going into an area that is unfamiliar to me, that I never thought, number one, that I would be a part of. But I'm glad that they actually selected me for this, because again, they were saying that they interviewed many people, but none of them actually came with, for the most part, the skill sets, in a sense, that I actually had. So like I said, I just wanted to kind of share this story with you all, and like I said, and just, to kind of use this as a faith builder, because again, people sometimes need to hear things to let them know that there is hope. You got a lot of people out there that are still looking for work. You got a lot of people out there that really that are having difficulty for providing for their families. But I hope and pray that someone listening catch a hold of the message that I'm actually trying to give, that God can and he does care and he will provide. Like I said, we just have to stay faithful to him. Okay, so that's all that I actually have to say right now. You all keep, doing what you're doing. Keep living, keep enjoying life. Don't let no one discourage you from moving up in the Lord as well as in society. Keep your focus on God. Peace out, folks. Love you all.